right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Want to keep things somewhat on schedule. I will be using my notes today. So yes, go ahead. All right, so my name is Lanisha Porter. I'm super excited to be here. I'm a Louisville native. Legacy is one of those words for me that when I hear it, it just charges my spirit. So when they asked me to speak, it was an automatic, absolutely yes. My core values are life, tradition, and legacy. So I'm a Louisville native, grew up in the West End, the best end, any West End Louisville natives in here. All right. So one thing about me is that I'm an author. I'm a 3-time author. And the power that comes with being yes, go ahead and clap it up for me, Maya. Period, all right? The power that comes with being an author is that you get to immortalize parts of history, your version of history. You get to canonize what history will say. And this talent has often got me contracted out to write people's stories, right? Obituaries is what I'm speaking of. More recently, about 2 years ago, I was contacted to write someone's obituary. And I'm telling you guys, when I got the obituary, it was the most boring thing I have ever read, excuse me. And obituaries are powerful for me because it is the time in which you get to call back a person's most precious moments, their milestones in their life. And so I feel like there is a due diligence that an obituary should be written with. So when I got this obituary, not only was I bored with its nondescript happenings, I was just disappointed that anyone's life that had lived that long into adulthood would be summarized in a paragraph as such. And I remember actually when writing the obituary, I had the thought that this person does not know me that well. They knew me from afar. But what are the odds that it would become divinely arranged that I would be holding the pen to write and recapture their life's happenings? And it made me think about who is someday going to write my obituary? Who one day will have the responsibility to canonize what my life was, what happened, what it meant to other people? And so it made me think this thought, and I want you to take this with you. You don't know who will write your obituary, whether it will be a random person who is a great writer, whether it will be the person at the funeral home, loved one, you don't know. But what you can control is what will be written about your life. You do not choose the person who will write your history, but how you live your life and what you do in your life, you can control that. Excuse me, let me say it right. Let me say it how God gave it to me. You cannot control who will write your story, but what you can do is control what will be written by your story by the way that you live your life. How you live your life is the pre-typed version of what will be written when you go on from this life. A lot of people think of death as this dark end, but really it's a beginning. It's a beginning of celebration for the time that you have served, that God has called you. And so about 10 years ago, which sounds crazy, I graduated from the Louisville Central High School. Is anybody from the historic Hive in the building? Period. All right, class of 2013. And well, you know what? Black don't crack, they say, so you look good, okay? And part of our class project was writing our eulogy. And it was actually one of the greatest exercises because it allowed me to see at a young age, whatever you want written about your life, you have to live it. So I want to read an obituary with you guys because a lot of people shy away from these thoughts. They shy away from thoughts of the end. They shy away from thoughts of death. But really it is the greatest point in which will help you begin to landscape what your life will be. So there is a person who wrote an obituary, and they were very honest in this obituary. It was more so a scathing callback to the way that someone lived their life. But it made me think, what if when people wrote obituaries, they were really honest? So I want you guys to listen to this obituary, which I found online. Lawrence H. Piff was born in Belmont, New York on April 16th, 1941. He passed away on June 27th, 2022. Living a long life, much longer than he deserved. He is survived by his 3 children, no 4, 5 children, Well, as of 2022, we believe there is one more that we know about, but there could be more. His love was abundant when it came to himself, but his children, it was limited. From a young age, he was a ladies' man and an abusive alcoholic, solidifying his commitment to both with the path of destruction he left behind, damaging his adult children and leaving them broken. Lawrence Sr.'s hobbies included abusing his first wife and children. He loved to start projects, but never followed through on any of them. Let me read that once more. He loved to start projects, but never followed through on any of them. He enjoyed the life of a barfly for many years and had a quaint little living space, studio above his favorite hole in the wall, the Club Nashville. They are ruthless, okay? Lawrence Sr. Spent 20 years in the NYPD, but even his time in the service was negligent at best. Because of his alcohol addiction, his commanding officer took away his gun and badge, replacing them with a broom until he could get his act together. Lawrence Sr. did claim to be clean and sober for over 30 years, but never worked any of the 12 steps, including the 8th and the 9th with his children, making amends. He possesses no redeeming qualities for his children, including the ones he knew and the ones he knew about. It will be challenging to miss Lawrence Sr. because he was narcissistic. He was incapable of love. Lawrence Sr.'s passing proves that evil does eventually die, and it marks a time of healing, which will allow his children to get the closure they deserve. Lawrence Sr. can be remembered for being a father to many and a dad to none. This was the obituary in which will immortalize him. This obituary went public. It went viral. The New York Times picked up on this. And I think about what would it be if people were really honest when they wrote our obituaries, right? People are nice enough to give us the dignity, right? To cover our dignity so much so that parishioners, pastors, mourners, as they sit at our service, they will fantasize maybe a life we didn't live just for the courtesy of our dignity, right? But what if that wasn't the case? What if you are a person who is a non-finisher, and that is what gets to be canonized in your obituary? This person started many things, finished nothing. This person was a terrible friend, no loyalty. This person had no work ethic. This person was a terrible person, right? So I think we have to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, what do we want our stories to be? And the best way to architect the future that you dream of and that you crave in your heart, I believe, is to reflect on your past. Reflecting on the past is powerful because what it does is it equips you with something that's very powerful. I think that every Black person should have this, especially as we go out to navigate a world that does not always see the best in us. You need to study your past so that you can develop your ethnic armor. Say that. Your ethnic armor. That is your suit of honor that keeps you clad in the remembrance of who you are, who you come from, what the people attached to you have made it through, where they have fallen short, right? My ethnic armor is such that I come from a family of hard workers. I come from a family of 5, 4 boys, 1 girl. I'm the youngest girl. But even in my story, in understanding the good, it's also has prepared me to understand my weaknesses. So about 2 years ago, I turned 25 2 years ago, right at the start of the pandemic. So in my friend group, I was the one that got to have the great big birthday party, and then the world shut down. So I was like, I'm glad my birthday was in February because we got to get my celebration out the way. But I remember at my celebration, turning up, having fun, right? So we're taking shots, and I took one shot just for celebratory matters, right? And so a friend keeps encouraging me to take more shots. And I'm like, no, I think I was good with the one. Like, I'm cool. No, girl, it's your birthday, turn up, you 25, like it's your milestone. No, I'm good. I'm fine, I'm good. I said that simply because I know the demons that are in my bloodline. I know that I come from a family of alcoholics. I know that alcoholism has been a demon that has terrorized my family. And although I know that it's in my DNA, I don't know what my threshold is. I don't know if it would have been 4 shots, 7 shots, 13 shots. I don't know what the limit would have been. But one thing I knew was that I did not want to find out. I've had enough dinners ruined. I've had enough family gatherings ending in shouting matches. And it does something to you when family dinners end with blood stains on the ground and just chaoticness happening. It etches something in your bones that says, whatever activated that, let me stay far away. That's the power of knowing your past. And so that taught me early on, know your story, because that is how you can best architect what it is that will be written about you ahead, all right? Another thing that I want to say in regards to legacy, you are serving a shift right now. I have a book. My second book is called Maximizing Her, Navigating Girlhood. Maximizing Her, Navigating Girlhood. And in that book, it's inspired by the absence of my own mother. I grew up raised by a single father, and it was important to me that as I was going through life and I was having these questions come up, provoked by way of my mother's own absence, that when I find these answers, I document them so that when I have a daughter, she won't have the same struggle. She won't have the same path of having to struggle to collect those answers. And so this book is like a love letter to my unborn daughter. And in chapter 5, there's something called the Dutiful Shift of Now. Say that for me, the Dutiful Shift of Now. The Dutiful Shift of Now essentially summarizes the idea that each of us has a duty that we are assigned. We have a shift, and that shift is now. Your shift to matter is now. Your shift to break every chain is now. The shift to break the inclinations and the hex on your family and the generational bonds and the strongholds, to break those off of your family is now. You're not here for nothing. You're not here doing busy work. You're not here just to pass time or to live day to day. Every day matters. Every second matters. Every interaction, it matters. Everything you do matters. And I'm going to tell you how much so that it matters. Your dutiful shift of now. Before I got to Central High School, I went to No Middle School. And I remember it being a really challenging and pivotal time for me choosing where I would continue my education. Did I want to go to Manual High School or did I want to go to Central? I didn't know. But my blessing was that I have an older brother who is 6 years older than me. And he's always blazed the trail through my educational path. Followed him elementary, middle school, high school. So when I'm in 8th grade, he is a senior at Central. He brings home a yearbook one day. And in this yearbook, I found myself going through it, just imagining, through my brother's high school experience, if I so chose Central, what would my story be? You can come in, you can come in. Oh, as a kid, okay. I want everybody to get this. And I just thought, what would my story be? And so what I did in my young imagination, my imagination of youthfulness, is I flipped through the pages and I saw the people, I saw the superlatives, I saw the people that were stingettes. I came across a page of academics, and it celebrated the people that graduated with the highest grade point average. And I stumbled across this word that I've never seen before, and it said valedictorian. Never knew what that was. So I asked my brother, I said, what is a valedictorian? And I will never forget his response. He lauded the valedictorian of his class with so much esteem and so many compliments. He said, oh, that girl, she's on her business. She's powerful. She has had A+ grade point average throughout high school. You should be a valedictorian. I was like, okay, I've never heard of it before, but I guess since it's in front of me and it sounds this good, I guess I can try to be a valedictorian. And so I remember being 13 years old, going through that yearbook, storyboarding what would be my own high school experience. I saw the dancers in their uniforms, and I was so enamored by how they could command a crowd, and people from the neighborhood would stop and watch them. And it's amazing what imagery can do, especially when you are a young person. Having the right imagery exposed to you, how it can literally sculpt the things that you see in your mind. So all that to say, went through my brother's yearbook, storyboarding what I believe my own high school experience could be. Fast forward to 2013, graduating Central High School. I graduated with the aim to be valedictorian. However, I missed it by 7 spots. All right, so I graduated top 10 of my class, still put me in the top 3%. You can give me a round of applause there, right? And that's commendable because although I did not make valedictorian, the imagery of seeing a Black girl be valedictorian that looked like me, that made the difference for me on a random day back in 2008, right? I went on to become a stingette at Central. The same way that I was in awe and enamored of how they could entertain people in the neighborhood, I would be one of those girls. I would get to go to high school and live the experience that I had picked out for myself, all because I had the right imagery and the right exposure. And actually one day I was riding the TARC bus, and I ended up I fell into an encounter with the valedictorian of Central during that time. Her name is Camellia. And if you ever get the chance to meet her, she's so humble, so down to earth, just really meek spirit. But she's so powerful because what I did was committed, and I downloaded her example to my mind, right? I programmed her imagery to my hard drive, and I said, I want to be like that. And that really made a difference for me. And it was powerful because seeing a girl with my skin tone, my hair texture, that had the same circumstances as me, navigating the same 40211 neighborhood as me, that did something for my ethnic armor because it showed me she didn't just become valedictorian because she has this seed implanted, by God to her that I don't have. All she did was just work at it. And so her simply living her legacy would give me an invitation to become conscious enough about my own legacy. That is the power of imagery. That is the power of serving your shift with the dutiful service that it matters. It matters. You are planting seeds right now that even if you don't get to see them, the people from the next generation will get to eat from them, right? When I think of the dutiful shift of now, I think of it like this. Do I want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every week? No, but that's the schedule I put myself on because I know if I can just do that for 6 months, waking up at 4 a.m., so what, I'm tired. Beyonce wake up at 4 a.m., she probably tired too. I'm still gonna get out of bed, okay? But I just thought, if I can dedicate myself to this dutiful shift of now without reflecting on the pain of what it cost, this can pay for the people that are attached to me down the line. The clock don't even have to start running now. The work that I'm doing now, it don't even have to matter right now. You can hit the clock when it matters, in 20 years, in 50 years, right? So I want you guys to be motivated to think about your story, what your story will be. Who is it that is watching you? And the thing about legacy is you have no idea the rippling effect that it will have. You have no idea the lengths in which it will travel. You have no idea who will take to you and say, that girl there, I saw her start her own business. That young man there, I saw him start his own videography business. That girl there survived through circumstances. That girl there came from the same neighborhoods that I did, and look what she has become. Look at her. Look at what she has become. And so I say this, I'm committed to allowing new things to linger in my lineage. Say that for me. right? We are creating new traditions. We're not just clocking in anymore. We're going after the contracts. We're negotiating contracts. We're not just gonna be renters anymore. We're gonna be owners now. All right, we're not just going to sit on the sidelines. We're going to get in the game. And when we're sitting on the sidelines, we're not going to sit there and sulk and feel sorry. No. We're going to study. So when we get in that game, we're going to dominate. And that's how you have to be. You have to be beast mode. You have to understand that your dutiful shift of now, it is going to pay off in ways that you won't even imagine. And you have to say that, break every stronghold off my generational line. All right, you have to tell the devil to fall back. You have to tell the devil to get in alignment with the blessings that God is raining down on your seeds. And that's how you have to get up. That's how you have to speak to yourself every single day. One thing that I'll say before I finish is this. I remember being online not too long ago, maybe a month ago. And what's that game, y'all, where they were killing each other? It was like the Asian game, dystopian. What is it called? The Squid Games. It was people that looked like they were playing the Squid Games, all right? And what they were doing is they were walking across what looked like memory foam boxes. And the objective of the game was to get across the boxes successfully. It was about 20 boxes, 10 on each side. And the players would almost always never make it across. But what I realized as I continued to watch the players go across the memory foam and fall off at some point, was that the power, the secret, the success in getting across successfully was understanding the person's steps that went before you. If you didn't pay attention to the steps that they took and the imprints that it made, you would walk into the same imprint and you would fall off the box. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm painting the picture clearly. But immediately, it reminded me of life. Your steps to get to the other side, the imprints. Your success is going to be determined by the person that went in front of you and the imprints that they left. And so I want you to think, who went ahead of you and what were the imprints that they took? And if you step in that same area, you step on those same blocks, whether that be stepping into relationships, whether that be stepping into marriages, whether that be stepping into financial literacy, whether that be stepping into education, whether that be stepping into business, whether that either be stepping into self-esteem, the imprints that were left before you, what advantage or what disadvantage is it casting for your foot as it is planted? And when you can navigate the path that you walk, understanding that, looking out for those spots, you're going to be a different beast. And that's not to say that you won't find yourself walking through places that are vulnerable, but it will be to say that when you get there, you will have the ethnic armor there to keep you clad, to keep you protected, to keep you empowered as you know you're walking through places that's vulnerable. All right, let me make sure I hit all my points. Are y'all enjoying this so far? Yes. Good. All right. So the last thing I'll say is this. My prayer for you as you listen to the sound of my voice is that as you leave this room, you clock in to what is your dutiful shift of now. That you are paving ways for people that are not even related to you. We all have neighbors across time. Say that, neighbors across time. Your neighbors across time, your daughters, your granddaughters, your adopted daughters. It doesn't even have to be solidified by blood, but even if it's through bond, even if it's through the person who in the neighborhood who saw you and say, they are my mentor and I'm connected to them because they are the only example that I can align myself with of the things that I want to do. You have neighbors across time. So even if you're not even in this same time space with them, you're going to be connected by something that is more powerful, a shared value, a shared idea, a shared passion, a shared history. And I want you to honor that. May God be with you. May God's anointing fall fresh upon your seeds. May you come against any scheme, tactic of the enemy that would try to come and run destruction against the plans that God has for you. You are on a mission. Your shift is now. Go clock in. Thank you for listening to me. I am Lanisha Porter of LanishaPorter.com. Happy Legacy Day. Happy Legacy Day. Hey, man. All right. Questions. Are there any questions? Do you guys have questions? Legacy. So let me tell you guys a little bit. So what I would like my legacy to be, I would like to be known as a young girl from the West End of Louisville who literally used her dreams to achieve better. I don't come from much. Literally, I grew up on the bus stop having to shake out my clothes before I went to school, hoping that I didn't bring any roaches with me. And if you look at me, you would say the life that she lives now kind of masks a lot of those childhood traumas. And that's not anything special about me. That's just the grace of God. And, you know, that's just God. Just understanding the power of your dreams. I always sign all of my books with keep your dreams, because my dreams have kept me. They've kept me from abject poverty. They have kept me from walking through gang territories in the middle of shootings. I remember I used to say to my father, like, Dad, I love our neighborhood. They always do 4th of July fireworks, even when it's not 4th of July. He was like, girl, you being serious? Those are fireworks. I mean, those are gunshots. I didn't know. But God kept me through all of that. So my dreams have kept me. So that's one thing that I definitely want to be a part of my legacy. When God blesses me in due time, I want to be known as a phenomenal mother, because that was not my story, right? So those are two things for sure that I know that I'm very conscious of when I'm building my legacy, right? What will be written about you in your eulogy is pre-typed by the way that you are living your life. So I throw the question to you all. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be my child, and I have another one at home, but I want to be someone that my children can look up to, that they can say, I saw my mom do this, but she overcame. She never lost her faith. She kept going, even in rough times, perseverance. So I want to be that role model for my children. But you never give up. Life is not always simple. You have hurdles. You just keep going at it, little by little.
I love it. Declare and decree that will be. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. And financial peace. I want financial peace for my entire family.
Yes, financial peace, financial security. That's a big thing for our community, that generational wealth. And not just even in dollars, you know, wealth in spirit, wealth in health. We want it. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share what they are dreaming their legacy to be? What assignment is on your shift's clock? I know 3 of y'all names in the crowd, so I will call. Let's see.
My story is really different. So I want to be known as like the father of modern day branding.
Yes.
Like brand is something that is like an abstract concept, and a lot of people guess at it. And I actually have a system that I've created that gives you a step-by-step process. But I've held on to it for a number of years because I don't want it to be duplicated or copied. But I just recently, during Legacy Week, talked to a CEO of another branding company, and we had come from, even though he was like a little white guy and I was like, white, I come from West Louisville as well, it was like we had this great conversation, and we were so comfortable with each other that I allowed him to hear a bit of this secret that I've kept, that I use with my clients. Not a secret to my clients, but to other agencies. And he was just, his face lit up, and he was just like, he doesn't see people as competition that's inside the same race, and he was like that. He was like, really, you should hold that really close, because he was like, you do have something. And he was like willing to help me sell it. And his connections go way farther than mine, right?
Yeah.
So, but this year, what I shared with him also was that this year I had a lot of periods where, which I've been doing what I do for 20 years. I've been doing it full time for 6 years. In the 6 years, I've had a lot of great success with different customers. But this year, I had like 3 duds that like the relationship didn't grow as I wanted, and the projects broke down in a way that I've never experienced. And it put a lot of doubt at the wrong time. Like it was like, I started to get that, what is it they call imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
So I'm like, why is it not working anymore? What's going on? And it was just like, really it came down to them not being my customer, because some of the ones that became duds, I feed it into them, not necessarily talked to him for a couple of sentences in, and he was just like, "You're gonna sell this around the world."
Yeah.
You know, so knowing your customer, and that's kind of like my legacy is wanting to be that father that introduces the world to how to brand a specific way.
Yeah. So how can we connect with you? Because we're going to see this. We're watching something on the ground floor of greatness. So let's just clap it up for you. I know what it feels like to take a risk, to take a chance on yourself. So even that was very vulnerable, you sharing your baby with someone else, and look how it happened. It's just so the right power player. So I believe in you. How can I support? What's your social media?
It's you can tap me. My name is Brian Liggins. That's BryanLiggins. And I'm really tapped in with the President Post. I'm a member of the Post. I've been here since almost day one. I designed the website, so you can actually find Blue Beak branding at the bottom of the website. But Blue Beak branding is my branding agency. The website is being worked on. Only my students have access to it. So if you go to the website, you'll only see a Blue Beak literature, and you can log in. So if you're not a student, you can't log in. But we're unfolding and releasing all that stuff as it comes out. But you can find me on social media under my name, and there's some Blue Beak out there. So just kind of.
Is it Blue Bee?
Blue Beak, like that.
Beak.
Like a beak on the duck.
Gotcha.
Blue
Blue Beak.
Beak.
All right. I gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. Declare and decree that it will be done in Jesus' name.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else want to share? What are you dreaming your legacy to be? What's on your shift? Shantae, let's hear it from you.
I want to be remembered as a lover, someone who just pours into other people, a supermodel. I have a lot of dreams, but I have a lot of fear too. And I need to move past that. So I just want to be remembered as a doer. Again, I pour into a lot of people, but kind of get emotional, but not so much into myself. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Love it.
And thank you. You did an awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you. You give a hand clap for her. I think Martin Luther King once said one of life's most persistent and important questions is, what are you doing for others? So Shantae, I believe that your legacy will be that question, and not through, the answer won't just be through words, it'll be through deeds. One of the most positive people that I know, I've had the chance to work closely with her on this project, and she just emits positivity. So declaring and decreeing for you that all of your heart's desires, that God will see them through.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, you guys, that's all I have. That's all God gave me to pour. Thank you guys for listening. You can connect with me on social media. Recently, I am running for Miss Black Kentucky USA, so please be on the lookout for that. And you can follow me on across platforms at Lanisha Porter. Happy Legacy Day, Lanisha Porter, Lanisha. Last name is Porter, Porter. I spell it out because I get to Chick-fil-A and they'll be like, "Hi, Miss Porter." I'm like, "It's Porter." All right.
Yeah, please support her in this Black Kentucky. Yeah.
Please do. A hand clap for Eddie. I know he doesn't want to be recognized, but my wonderful videographer who is here. You had a question?
No, I was just gonna say, how do we support? Do you have on your website, like if we were?
You know what? I will.
Okay.
So what will happen is on my website, I have an emailing list in which I update everybody about what's going on with me. So if you just go to lanishaporter.com, give me your email address, I will email you to make sure that you know when it's happening. October the 7th through the 9th, so really October the 9th at the Louisville Memorial Auditorium.
Okay.
And it will be so many just beautiful Black women there with incredible stories. When we were in orientation, we all started crying just to hear each other's stories. And really just to be surrounded in a space where everything's gonna be super intentional And I say that because, and Shantae knows, we did a pageant at the beginning of this year. And when you start transcending racial lines, pageants can be a crapshoot. You never know why the person is really chosen, why someone didn't get chosen. But the thing that's special about this pageant is no matter what, we will be judged because we are seen, because of our stories, and because of really what we possess and not by the color of our skin. And that's the most beautiful thing. So come and support your Black sisters. Please do. All right, thank you guys. Happy Legacy Day. Oh, can I get a picture with y'all? Yes. I would love that. Eddie, do you mind taking our